what's up, y'all? How y'all doing out there? Welcome to the eye test. I am your host, Mark, and I'm with my co-host, whatever he would like to be named today. What's going on,
Uh,
man?
you know me for long enough to just call me Sean. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? I think we passed last names and shit by now. You know what I'm
I
saying? You can just
mean,
call me Sean.
like, like we had a discussion before. I don't know what's your deal with these names. Maybe you like the girl from the WNBA. You got a problem with me because I'm using your last name and not your first name? You want me to say your name? Make sure.
No, I just want you not to reveal all of my personal information to the world when you're just calling yourself Mark. That's all.
Last time I checked, I wasn't giving out social security numbers, and I was also
No,
giving out my
just
last name.
locations, just locations of where I live and shit like that.
So
That's
it
it.
is,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
well, you know, I guess, revisionist history as far as I'm concerned. Um,
Oh, I'll bring it up.
yeah,
Don't
please,
worry.
please, because I think you need to review the tapes because I say my last name a lot. But
We do.
um,
We do need to review the tapes.
but anyway, man. Honestly, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
You feeling
I'm
good?
straight.
It was I'm feeling excellent, honestly. I'm excited for this episode for real. I mean, this is the first episode in a while where we could just talk freely without none of the seriousness. Nothing crazy has happened in the NBA or in the sports world, besides the fact that they're playing sports. So we can just actually talk about sports, and I'm actually kind of excited about that, bro. Uh,
Yeah, I feel you. I'm definitely excited about that too, man.
yeah, man. So look, we're gonna switch it up, man. Let's just start with actually let's start in the NHL because the game just ended not too long ago. And I just wanted to say I wanted to give a shout out to the Flyers for their excellent tough win that they pulled out today. They needed this win in the game 6 in double overtime. They pull out the win. Um, this was a 5-4 victory versus the Islanders. The Islanders was up 3-1 in the series, and now we're going to
Yep,
Game 7. This is
going to game 7.
this is awesome, man. Like, because now the pressure has shifted from the Flyers to the Islanders, and how they gave up a 3-1 lead, and could be possibly facing elimination. So that's pretty dope. Um, I want to also shout out Oscar Lindbaum. This was his first game back from being declared cancer free. So his cancer diagnosis kept him out for much of the season, and this is his first game back for being cancer free, and to pull out a win in double OT. That's awesome, man. I think that's so.
Well, that's an
Shot,
amazing story for sure, man. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I don't know how many players have come back from cancer to get a dub. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
the closest thing that I could think of is Sean Elliott back in the day on the Spurs coming back from kidney transplant and then hitting that game winner in the corner. You know, that corner 3 game winner on Rasheed Wallace. But
yeah,
his
man.
cancer is different though.
Yeah, like when Oscar Lindbaum came, when he stepped into the bubble in the last series, the Flyers pulled off an amazing victory, a dominating victory, I should say, in the last series when Oscar Lindbaum first stepped into the bubble. But now, this being Game 6, his first game to be able to play, I'm glad that the Flyers were able to hold on so that he could actually play in this series. And now for them to hopefully they could get a win and move on so that he could still see more time on the ice. Um, but yeah, man, shout out to the Flyers. I'm looking forward to Game 7. I'm actually going to sit down and watch Game 7, man. Stuff is getting real.
Yeah, this is what I'll say, man. Like, the one thing that you don't want in hockey is a hot team or a inspired team. I know that probably could be said about all sports, but hockey is the one sport where it's not unusual for a team to come back from 3-0. It's not unusual for a team to come back down 3-1, and it's also the only sport where it's not unusual for a 1 seed to lose to an 8 seed. So yes, it is a problem if these guys just rattled off 2 games in a row to push to Game 7. My bet would have to be on the Flyers if I had to say who was going to win Game 7. Momentum is a whole totally different beast when it comes to hockey.
Yeah, man. Totally different beast, man. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this game, man. But that's all I really have about hockey at this time. I mean, the other game is being played right now. And so let's just get into football. And we're going to start right off with we just had a conversation last week about certain teams not valuing running backs or not are trying to actively devalue the running back. And and I was careful about my statement for this very reason, because certain teams don't devalue. I mean, there are certainly teams that are actively trying to devalue running backs, but they certain teams aren't moving in that direction. And it seems like the Bengals are one of them. They found their guy, man. $48 million for 4 years on a contract extension for Joe Mixon. It was a lot of controversy when he came into the league because of his mix-up with the woman in the bar, and now he's kept his nose clean as far as we know, and he's just been playing well, and the Bengals are rewarding that play. $48 million for 4 years, man. What do you think about that?
Man, I think they're making smart moves right now. If you look at the makeup of their team and who's their playmakers are, or who the playmakers are going to be on offense, you immediately have to look at guys like you got to look at AJ Green, but you know his situation. He's always hurt, right? There have been talks for the past 2 seasons of them trading him away. Okay, so they're not going to invest their money into him. John Ross has had ample opportunities to prove himself on his team, and it seems as though he just doesn't have it. So therefore, what they did was they see Joe Burrow coming in. They said, you know what? We don't want any issues. We want to build a solid foundation. We're going to go ahead and sign Joe Mixon to this contract. He's still young. You know, Burrow's coming in as a rookie. Like, to lock up a running back, an every down back for your quarterback, your rookie quarterback that's supposed to be coming in with the expectations of, the sky is the ceiling for this guy. It's very important that you sign a guy or keep a guy like Joe Mixon on the roster, just so that, hey, man, you're going to have a little bit of cushion. It ain't going to just be all on you. And there's no question marks of, well, is Joe Mixon going to be there next year? You know, who's going to be there? No, it looks like they're trying to take steps in the right direction, at least in signing Joe Mixon and making sure that he's happy with the amount of money that he's getting, because damn, I know he's got to be happy with that contract, man.
Yeah, man. And what I like about his contract is he got paid, but he's not the highest paid.
Yes.
So it's not like, so it was one of those situations where he didn't feel the need to, or maybe he did feel the need, but either way, the contract is around where his skill level is. Like, you're not the best, so you should not be getting paid more than people that are considered the best, like such as Zeke and who else got signed recently, but particularly Zeke.
Oh, you're talking about Todd Gurley?
Yeah, but Todd Gurley is making less than him. But
at the time, Todd Gurley, when he got signed, because he got signed first, when he got signed,
right,
it was the biggest contract we had ever seen for a running back.
Exactly. And so this is the type of contract I would be expecting for Joe Mixon. Like, it's a good contract. It's just not the best. That's not the best contract. I just hate how the QB market moves, where it's like, oh, this QB signed for this much, so I'm going to try to beat it. Like, but you're not better than that QB. I'm looking at you, Dak Prescott, directly at you. Don't try to get more money than Patrick Mahomes on a per year basis or anything like that. You're not as good as Patrick Mahomes, bro. Sit
Yeah,
down, relax.
that's the one thing that I really don't like about the it's the only position that they do that at, man. It's quarterback is the only position that they do that to where they're just like, yo, if you're the next guy to become a free agent, it's almost like, well, he's going to get this much or this amount or he's worth this amount because the last person that got signed got this amount. It's like, no, the last person that got signed was Andrew Luck.
All
That
right.
doesn't mean that you, as Brock Osweiler, deserves Andrew Luck money. Like, I just, you know what I mean? But that's just one example. It's just like, nah,
Yeah.
man. Like, I don't know why that exists for the quarterback position, but apparently it does. So, but thank God, you know, the Bengals were able to be smart enough to get him a good contract. I personally think he might not be worth as much as they gave him, but to that team, he might be, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, because only thing for me is he had this past year to really show out as a full season, and he did. So, I mean, with running backs, you can't wait forever to see if they're going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And usually running backs don't have fluke seasons.
Yeah.
I say usually, you know, every once in a while you get a Peyton Hillis or, you know what I'm saying, something like that. But
yeah, you're right. And another running back that found his home was Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette has after being recently released, he is now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And so the rich get richer, one would say, in this regard. And shout out to them. It looks like Ronald Jones is going to be further down on the depth chart because
thank goodness.
Yeah, Ronald Jones. Look, no need to tell me that because Ronald Jones has been highly inconsistent. Last year he had good games, but he had good games against terrible teams, and this and like it seems like on the bigger against the bigger teams or the better teams, he kind of disappeared, and so they kind of needed Leonard Fournette, I would say. And the fact to me that Shady McCoy is going to have a significant role in that offense lets me know that they kind of need him. They kind of need Fournette, and that Ronald Jones isn't up to snuff because Shady McCoy can still give you games, but he's not going to give you a season.
No,
he's not going to give you a whole season. So this was much needed. So it's not like they have a great wealth at running back. No, like they have guys that fit certain roles, and so pretty much I definitely see them still carrying forward with all four running backs that they had that currently is on the roster. Man, you have anything to say about Fournette joining the Tampa Bay Bucks?
Man, you said the rich get richer. I say Tampa Bay's taking in everybody's garbage is what they're doing. Days like Gronk, you look like you haven't played. Fuck playing. You look like you haven't eaten in 2 years, but we'll pick you up. You know what I mean? Shady, I heard you.
Stop.
Like
Gronk hasn't shot up in 2 years. That's what happened.
Maybe he's eating his steroids. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he, Gronk is Gronk. He probably would eat it. You know what I'm saying? He probably snort that shit, man. He's really a frat boy. Like, so, I mean, I don't know, man. It's not too far-fetched, Mark. Come on. Don't play with me. Anyways, yeah, but you get what I'm saying. It looked like somebody pulled the plug on his back and the motherfucker whole body deflated. But, yeah, Gronk out there looking like his little brother and shit, or his, his older brother.
Yeah.
But either way, Gronk looks crazy skinny, He looked like he ain't ready to play. They was like, we'll take you. You have a name, we'll take you. Shady, I know you like to get hurt, but we'll take you anyway. Leonard Fournette, you like to punch people and shit. We'll take you. So I mean, I get what they're trying to do, and I get the attitude of we don't have anything to lose, because what's the worst that could happen? We have these guys here for this year. You know, if we win a chip and Brady retires afterwards, which I don't know if Brady's trying to retire, but if Brady retires afterwards, then this shit was worth it, you know? So I don't have a problem with them signing Leonard Fournette. I don't have a problem with them signing any of these guys. It's not like they were spending the cap on other players. So,
Right.
I mean, they have the cap space. They have the ability to sign these guys. And if you're going to make that run with Tom Brady, it has to be quick within these first 2 seasons. So, I mean, because this is the thing about it. Everybody looked at Kobe and said, you know, Kobe is different. There's a reason why he's still playing. He's still able to be a starter and be a top player, considered the top player in the league at 37, 38. But then what happened? He started getting hurt. Okay, like once you get to that age, you are one injury away from retirement. So everybody just talks about Brady playing for years on end as if he's impervious to injury. Let it be known, Tampa Bay's offensive line is not New England's offensive line. We just need to get that out of there right now. So yes, get those players, get them in there. Who cares if they're throwaways for you? Get them in there now. Try to get that chip, man.
Well, to that I'll say, no, they don't have that offensive line, but they damn sure have far better wide receivers. So maybe he does. So maybe he will not need the line to hold nearly as long as he has the wide receivers that will get open like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin can. So we'll see what happens there. But basically everybody is sniffing championship with the tandem of Brady with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and they want to just they want to get on the train. They want to get on the gravy train before it takes off. So can't blame them for that.
I mean, when you say everybody sniffing, you talking about the players that are joining up, or you talking about? I'm trying to figure out, man, because I know I'm not sniffing any championship for them. But
no, I'm talking about the players that are joining up.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, and you look at these guys, man. Shady is like, yo, I missed out, you know. But then he got his. But I mean, did he earn it? I don't know. Either way, I'm sure Shady is looking to be a huge contributor at this point. Is what he's looking to be. Try to get his final hurrah out of the way here, because you know. And then you're looking at Gronk. Yeah, all these guys, like Gronk didn't come back to play football because he just was dying to play football again. He came back because he can play with his boy Tom Brady,
right,
without Bill Belichick looming over, and he has a chance to get a ring. Like he gets to have fun while getting a chance to get a ring, you know. So yeah, you're right though.
Okay.
No, but this is real quick before we finish. What I will say is this: all these guys that they picked up, I've said all these things about them, but they all have something to prove. They definitely all have something to prove. So hopefully that'll put a chip on their shoulder to where they'll come out and show out, you know?
Yep. All right. Speaking of Bill Belichick looming over, New England Patriots have named their QB, and that QB name is Cam Newton. No surprise there. But what is surprising to me is just looking at watching ESPN, watching NFL Network, looking in on the camp, and watching Cam Newton be Cam Newton. It's such a weird thing to see in New England. Like, you know what I mean? Like the all business camp and how they move, and you see this guy happy-go-lucky, dancing, moving his feet, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jiving his arms, and it just like, this is so out of place for this particular team. Like, it's just so it's kind of weird, man. Like, I don't really have a negative or a positive thing to say about it. It's just
I got something to say.
it's just very weird to me. Please go ahead.
Oh yeah, man. I'm gonna say this, man. Um, this boy, Bill Belichick, your boy is on a campaign, Mark. He is on the clear my name campaign right now. That he's like everybody feels this way about me. They say I don't let the players have fun. They're saying I'm the reason why I'm holding Tom Brady back and all this other shit. He done set Tom Brady up for the fall by not getting no players around him. You know what I'm saying? Letting the offensive line deteriorate, all that stuff. Chased Tom Brady out of there, made it look like it was Tom Brady's fault, and then now all of a sudden it's like all those things, all those complaints, and all those um what blemishes that you would say that Bill Belichick had as far as the way that he handles things. Now all of a sudden they sign a mobile quarterback, they sign Cam Newton, black quarterback. Cam Newton is allowed to be himself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, come on, Mark, man. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe it's maybe it's because I despise Bill Belichick. I don't know, but to me, it's if it. I wouldn't be surprised if throughout the season you see
Mhm.
other players on the team being allowed to express themselves in that way.
I think that's going to be very interesting, honestly,
Yeah,
because I wonder what that energy is going to be like with Cam Newton on the Patriots, where this guy is being himself. And if they start, like, if they rail off wins, like, how would that affect the team? Will the team start being like more themselves? With the like, would the McCourty twins start playing more to themselves? Like, how would that? How, like,
yeah.
what type of energy would that bring to the team? Like, because that all business energy that they've had up until this point has been New England's identity. So, like,
I'll tell you this: they will be a dangerous team if they're allowed to play off of emotion. When you're allowed to have that emotional expression, you kind of hype yourself up off of that, and when you do that, it sometimes allows you to play at a higher level, than you
it
than you
also
typically
can
would be
it
able to.
also can mess you up too, and you'll be like Leonard
It
Fournette,
can,
randomly
but
punching people in the face and hurting your team. So,
but also that's why I'm more curious just to see how Bill Belichick handles it, because this is the thing. Cam Newton's being himself right now. I'm sure Bill has probably had a conversation with them. At this point, clearly he's probably just said, "Hey, look, man, I don't care about that. Look, do you know the playbook? Are you going to show up? I'm here about business. When it comes time to play on the field, then this is what I need." Okay. So I'm wondering what Bill Belichick's going to do. I'm trying to see what happens the first time Cam Newton runs for a first down, Mark, because you know what's coming. You know the arms coming out. You know that's coming out. So like, I really want to see what Bill Belichick's reaction is going to be, or whether or not Cam Newton goes to his signature celebrations right off
and
the bat. You know.
I also wonder if Bill Belichick will run the ball on Cam at all. Like, will Cam show any level of more discipline that he already has? Like, you know what I mean? Like, will he become a more disciplined player in certain regards now that he is working with Bill Belichick as his head coach?
Well, this is what I'll say about Cam Newton from everything that I've seen about him on the field, off the field, the way he carries himself, the way he leads teams. Um, it's like he's one of these players that I could just look at and say he's been groomed to be a quarterback since he was like probably 5 years old. He does everything the way that a quarterback's supposed to do. He says everything the way that a quarterback's supposed to say it. Um, as far as being more professional, I don't think Cam can be any more professional or disciplined in the way that he handles himself on the field, outside of him celebrating. That's it. Everything else that he does between the lines, I believe that he already is disciplined. And basically, he's one of those. He's a quintessential quarterback in the sense of, hey, the coach gives me the plays, I learned them, and I try to execute them, and that's what he does. So I think that's why, as far as the coach relationship with the QB with Cam Newton, I don't think there's going to be any issues there whatsoever.
Yeah, okay. I hear you. And
Yeah.
like I just, I like I said, this whole situation intrigues me because the receiving core hasn't really changed, but so much, and the running backs hasn't really changed. And I'm curious to see what can Cam do with this team that Tom Brady couldn't last year, or um, or if he can even live up to what Tom Brady was able to do last year with the players that they have.
Well, one last thing I'll say is where Cam Newton is great and where he could possibly squeeze some type of life out of these wide receivers is broken down plays. What Cam Newton is really good at is making sorry ass motherfuckers like Ted Ginn look like they're top tier wide receivers, because when a play breaks down, Ted Ginn might not be able to get open initially, but then when the play breaks down, he's smart enough to look back at the quarterback and then find the open spot of the field.
Come on, man.
But Ted,
Like you giving Ted Ginn too much heartache, man. Ted Ginn was lit in New Orleans. Excuse me.
you said he was lit. Was he 13 to 1,400 yards receiving lit? Because that's what he was doing in Carolina that year.
I mean,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
But
Mark.
I mean,
don't try to make it. He was 900 yards, 1,000 yards lit in with the Saints. He wasn't no 1,400 yard receiver with 12 touchdowns. I mean, I'm just spitting out numbers, but I know it's close to that. Like, he was on a different level.
He had a hot year. Yeah, I don't know if your numbers are correct, so I can't speak to that because I'm not following Ted Ginn around the world. I just know that when he was in New Orleans, he played well.
Look, what you need to know about Ted Ginn, when he was in New Orleans, he was already about somewhere around 27, 28 years old. When he was with the Panthers, he was already like 30, okay? Like, he had an amazing year. Yes, he did. He had a great year. But what I'm saying is the reason why his numbers was up is because he was eating off of broken down plays. And the whole reason why I brought it up is because these players, even if they're not able to get open or get schemed open or get that separation that they need, if the play breaks down and Cam can extend the play, then these guys that normally would not be open have a better chance of getting open. And that's somewhere where I'm waiting to see if Cam is able to still do that. Because if he can, it's going to make those receivers there look like they're a little bit better than they were last year.
Okay. All right. So the year in particular that you're talking about Cam Newton, because I'm pulling up the numbers now. The year in particular you're talking about Ted Ginn was 2015. He had 44 receptions, 739 yards, and 10 touchdowns. That was by far the most touchdowns that he's had on any particular team. And his best year in New Orleans was that was his 10 touchdown year. In 2016 with Carolina, he had 54 receptions, 752 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So he had more receptions, same amount of yardage. And in 2017, he had 53 receptions and 787 yards, and that's with New Orleans, and 4 touchdowns. So he kept the same energy from Carolina to New Orleans until and then 2018. I'm assuming that he was hurt because he only had 17 receptions and 200.
I'm going to bring something up to you because I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was like, I know I was exaggerating. Now, full disclosure, man, Ted Ginn used to play for the Niners, and the whole time he played for us, he didn't do shit but return kicks, okay? I mean, He was a wide receiver on our squad, but he didn't do shit, okay? Now, that could have been because of our situation. I'm not going to get into that, but this is what I'm going to get into. Catch percentage. That season with Carolina where he went off, his catch percentage was 45.4%, second lowest of his entire career. But he happened to get the most touchdowns. He happened to average his highest yards per catch. But that's exactly what I'm saying. That was purely because he was not able to get open enough for Cam to get him the ball on the regular plays. But when the play broke down, that's when he would break off. He would catch the ball, turn a broken down play of a 12 to 15-yard catch into a 35-yard catch. Those are the things that he was able to do with Cam Newton at quarterback. In the yardage that he got with the Saints was manufactured differently. As you said, those are more catches, maybe for the same amount of yards, but it's more catches. His catch percentage went up. That's also a product of playing in the Sean Payton system with a lot of other weapons around. And it was also, obviously Drew Brees being a more accurate passer. But like I said, he was way more explosive with Cam there. That's what I'm saying. Cam will, if somebody on that team is smart enough to get open on a broken down play, then they can make a living off of that.
Yeah, that boy had 7 drops last year. And I was correct. In 2018, he was hurt. He only started 5 games in 2000. Mm-hmm. He only played 5 games in 2018. He started 3 of them. So, yeah. All right, but this was certainly not a topic where I wanted to talk about Ted Ginn. That's for damn sure. So let's get back on topic.
Nobody want to talk about Ted Ginn, man. But here we are. Here we are.
Yeah. So but not getting back to it. Another quarterback that was named starter of his squad was Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins apparently won his quote-unquote QB battle with Alex Smith, and he will be the Week 1 starter for the Washington football team. Ron Rivera said that he's making all the right strides and doing all the right things that he expected him to do. I don't really have.
Hey, man, before you even start, man, I have a question for you, Mark. Do you really believe that he beat out Alex Smith for the starting position?
Yeah, I can. Sure, why not? What's your hate? What's your problem with Dwayne?
I ain't got no problem with him. I know what I saw from him last season.
Nah, man. No. Look, I'm not putting last season on him. I'm not putting last season on anybody that's sitting on the sideline crying to their offensive lineman to play football. Like, I'm not putting that on anybody. His offensive line was checked out. The entire team was checked out. The only person that wanted to play, it seemed, was Dwayne Haskins. That was the only person that seemed like he wanted to play football last year. Everybody was done with Jay Gruden. Okay.
Let me put it this way. As somebody, you know how I feel about Alex Smith.
Okay.
I could say whatever I want, but the one thing I can't say is that he's ever ill-prepared. I can't ever say that he doesn't go out there and give it all that he has. I do understand he's coming off of his injury, but what I'm saying is I don't believe that when they put them both into practice, they were like, man, Dwayne just looks better. He just looks better than Alex Smith. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, that's a different conversation.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you think he just straight up beat him out, or were they just looking at it as, hey, Alex Smith, you coming off the injury, we're not trying to throw you right out there anyway, so Dwayne Haskins is going to get the start. And it would take basically for Dwayne Haskins to be a garbage can for them to say, okay, Alex Smith, you're going to go in there and start in the beginning of the season. That's why I felt like, I don't know why they're announcing it. Like, he won the position. Like,
hey, man, he's their Week 1 starter. I'm rooting for Dwayne Haskins because, man, watching that sideline thing, it broke my heart for him, dog.
I did. That shit was crazy. Though, Mark.
That shit was crazy.
I'm like, dog. Hey, man, that shit felt like a Jerry Maguire scene. Help me help you.
Like, dog.
I was like, damn, dog. Like, that's what it felt like, yo. I was like, yo, man, this dude, I thought he was just going to start stealing off on people because, I mean.
Yo, he was
done.
He was like, what can I do? He was like, what can I do to help?
Like, if you know anything about Dwayne Haskins, he's one of these squeaky clean. He don't really yell. He don't really, you know what I'm saying? He's not one of these people that be just yelling at people on the sideline. So just to see him doing that was like, yo, y'all really must have pushed him this far.
Why? What are y'all doing? Why don't y'all like this dude at all? Like, why do you want to see him in pain, man? Like that joke was crazy.
They tried to give him the Willie Beeman treatment and shit,
Yeah,
man.
they was looking. They was looking off in the distance and shit. Like while he's like,
man,
like yo, like that's how you do Jay Gruden. Like Jay Gruden should have never been the coach of that team, but that's how you do it. Every player pretty much had enough. It was over.
man.
But yeah, so last of the QB battles that I know about, where the guy won out, Tyrod Taylor is officially the quarterback of the the LA Chargers. So yeah, man, I'm interested in this for Tyrod because I always felt as though Tyrod was good enough to be a starter. I just never thought that anybody actually invested that time into him, or his weapons just wasn't all that great. But this year he has Mike Williams. Mike Williams sprained his AC joint. Hopefully that remains the just. I didn't check recently, but hopefully that is just a sprain. But he did sprain his AC joint. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But he does have Keenan Allen as well and Austin Eckler. So he has offensive weapons to throw to. So I'm interested to see what Tyrod Taylor can do on this team. But we do know that this is not his job of the future because they drafted a guy for the future. So the best he could do is hold that dude off for this year and then find a home for next year.
Yeah, man. He's definitely following in the footsteps of one of his predecessors in Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, that's what he's doing. He's doing this. I could just see him doing this for a long time because he is a good quarterback. He is a quarterback that does not make mistakes. He will, and I'll be honest with you, man. Tyrod will never get a shake, never get a fair shake because he's not 6'4". If
Yeah.
Tyrod was 6'4", he would get a fair shake. You know,
I don't even think it's that because Kyler Murray is got a fair shake, but then again,
look at his coach.
Yeah, I was going to say his coach it has a big deal to do with that.
And his
But
coach is like 20 years old. Okay, maybe he's not 20, but you know what I mean. He's got one of these younger coaches that'll be down with that
right,
shit. You know?
he doesn't have an archaic mindset when it comes to football personnel. So, yeah, but man, I'm rooting for Tyrod. Tyrod has always been one of those players that I've been wishing the best for, and I just felt as though he was never given a fair shake or put in the right situation to be able to actually shine.
Yeah, he's been playing in some really shitty offenses. This is going to be the best, even with Mike Williams. If Mike Williams ain't there, this is going to be the best offense that he's played in his entire career. And with him having a running game like they had, with him having the weapons that he has there, and their offensive line ain't bad. Like they actually have a pretty good offensive line. Like I'm curious to see what he does. I hope that he can hold off the rookie for as long as he can, and I'm hoping that he shows out because I believe that when you have a guy like Tyrod, who is a guy who doesn't make mistakes. He might not be the most accurate passer. He might not have the highest completion percentage, but I tell you what, whenever you got guys that can make the right decision like him, like Alex Smith, and then you get a guy like Austin Eckler or some of these, receivers like Keenan Allen that can make plays after the catch, it's going to make you look really good. So,
yeah,
We'll see, man.
yeah. And speaking of one of his weapons, let's just go ahead and keep it in LA. On Hard Knocks, man. I just watched it this morning, and boy, Austin Eckler, like they showed, they had a scene in. Did you watch Hard Knocks?
No, I didn't get a chance to. I'm probably actually going to watch it tonight before I go to sleep. But
All right, so This was a fairly good episode of Hard Knocks, but in the scene, the coach, he sets up the drill. He sets up the goal line drill for the running backs. Where they jump over the offensive line,
Yeah.
and he sets up two trash cans, and he sets up the pad. And he stacks the first pad, and everybody was hitting the pad, like, obviously everybody's going to jump over the first one, but gets to 2, 3, that joint is pretty high now, and so starts weeding them off, get to 5. Now this thing is about probably 6'3" now, and Austin Eckler hopped that thing without touching a single bag, bro. Like that boy, that boy could get up, man.
Like when you said hopped it, like he was still vertical when he went
No,
over it and came down, or
no,
you talking
absolutely
about he
not.
dove over it?
Yeah,
I
he
was gonna
dove
say,
over.
man, but even so, well, let me tell you, let me tell you something, Mark. That shit is still impressive. Like I was, I was an all-state high jumper in high school, and let me tell you something. People think that it would be easier to just dive over something like that head first. It's not.
Yeah,
6'3" is a lot taller than you think it is.
yeah,
Like it's ridiculous. Like him to do that, and I know he's a smaller guy.
yeah. Like he's
That's
already shorter,
ridiculous.
and he didn't touch. Like obviously the objective is not to touch a single pad, and he got over that thing not touching a single pad. That it was really impressive, man. It was one of the coldest things I saw on the show. I was like, oh, that was really impressive. And and another cool thing that was on Hard Knocks, man, Jalen Ramsey, dog, just out there showing exactly why he is probably the best corner in the game. Now we do know that everything on Hard Knocks is edited to look spectacular, but yo, it just like he was matched up against the receiver, and the receiver was burning. Like the way they showed the edit was that the receiver was burning everybody on the like that was coming up against him, and like he was running Chris routes, and then they was like, well, to be the best, you got to play against the best, and then have him matched up against Ramsey. And the first scene they show Ramsey just right up, like he goes to make an in route, that cut don't fool Ramsey at all. Ramsey right up on his head, and he doesn't. The pass doesn't go his way because Ramsey's there. On the second one, they tried to throw a 50-50 ball in the end zone towards Ramsey's
Man,
way.
that's ridiculous. I
Yo,
don't know why you would.
Ramsey jumps up, one hands that draw, and takes it back the entire other way. And I was like, that boy cold, man.
You know what that is? That's coach leaning over saying, "Hey, man, hey, set him up, man. Set him up. Let's see how good he is." You know what I'm saying? You think you're nice? Go ahead, set him up. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna throw 50-50 for him. Yeah, they knew what was about to happen to him, man.
like first Ramsey pressed him and bumped him, so like that threw off his route, and then and when the ball went up, Ramsey was right there. I was like, okay, this is vicious. But I just wanted to bring that up because those are things that stood out to me about Hard Knocks. And they did a spectacular job. They made sure to bring up, the situation that went on last week with the player protest and the shooting of Jacob Blake. So they showed their live reactions to when it originally happened, and they showed their conversations that they had afterwards in this episode, and it showed a little bit of the uncomfortable conversations that was surrounded around that, which was pretty cool. So they did a pretty good job with this episode of Hard Knocks, man.
I was gonna say if they actually have them show them communicating, and it doesn't matter how uncomfortable it is, if it shows that they actually are, instead of ignoring it, they're just saying let's talk about it, and they're giving them an open floor to speak, then that's really good on their part, man.
Yeah, man, it was pretty cool. It was good stuff. It was real good stuff. But I really want to. But that's all I really had about Hard Knocks. But in preparation for this football season, they show how everybody's preparing. And I just wanted to ask you, man, yo, what's your early predictions for this season? What do you see? Um, who do you see? Um, First of all, who do you see being in the Super Bowl early? I mean, we know we don't have a preseason, so you're just going off of how teams may have improved themselves by what players they've acquired or what players they retained from last year and stuff like that. But I'm just curious, man, how do you see it going down as an early prediction?
Man, so early predictions. I'm not betting against that man that they call Patrick Mahomes. Um, we've discussed this his rookie, not his rookie season, but his first year starting, his second year. We discussed this, man. He's different. He's a problem that you just can't solve because he can do everything, and he does it. He doesn't just do everything. He excels at an alarming. He plays this at an alarming high level. Uh, when it comes to throwing the ball, running the ball, his timing, everything. Like you can't do anything with him, right? So, and as long as he has
I tell you one
that
thing he
type of
don't. I
speed
tell you
around
one
him,
thing he don't excel at.
what?
He don't excel at not and knowing not to get married right now. Like Doug, he
Whew. Hey, man. Hey,
like yo, you like Doug. You are young. You're light skinned. You got green eyes, and you the richest sports figure in the world. You figure now's the time to get married. Come on, Doug.
hey, Mark. That man doing everything else early. He out there being the best quarterback early. He's out there playing like he's 30 years old early. He's out there winning Super Bowls and MVPs early. Fuck it. Why not? Just add something else to the list. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
you know
like
what he's
I
going to.
mean,
You know what he's going to add to the list? Giving up half his bag early.
man, man. You know what, man? Nah, man. Patrick, I got faith in my boy Patrick. He be making smart decisions on the field. I just got faith that he's making smart decisions off the field. You know what? He gonna lock this one down forever. You know what I'm saying? They young, but they ain't that young. They gonna stay together forever. And Patrick Mahomes is the man. And okay, I don't know about this, Mark. I wouldn't. He's better than me. He's better than me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's better.
The fact that they made it through college is amazing to me. Like, yo, she already like, dog. There's no way you're not telling me that he was faithful this whole time. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Look,
He was
man.
not faithful this whole time,
She
dog.
saw the check and she started doing her best floor exercise, gymnastics, and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Look, man.
You saying she got the
All I'm
block?
saying, shit. I mean, if she didn't have it before, she sure as hell had it that shit after she saw that contract, you know. but yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, man, she like, look, I'm just gonna be on his ass. I'm gonna be on him until he cough up that ring. That's what we doing here. You know what I'm saying. But either way, man, what were we even talking about, man? Talking about Patrick Mahomes, man. So I got Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs, going back. Their defense made the improvements that they needed to do halfway through the season. They made the signings that they needed to make. They're bringing basically the same team back. What are we talking about? I don't think anybody was better than them last year, and I don't think anybody's better than them this year. Okay, now for the NFC, the NFC is a lot more complicated. You know, my team is dealing with a bunch of injuries. I don't see how we overcome what's happening to us. These aren't just temporary injuries. Some of these injuries are not temporary. Not doing it. I don't think we can make it back. So now that just opens the door. You still have Drew Brees and the Saints available. I mean, I don't know if I have faith in them at this point,
I
but
think I think there's just like, yeah, I think that there's like some sort of destiny blocker when it comes to the Saints, dog. They just not gonna do it. Like, dog, they just
I
had the
feel
most random shit in their way for like
I'm
4 years now.
like I can't like they would be the best team, but I can't pick them. I can't. in good faith picked them. So I don't know. In the NFC, who else was kind of lurking last year? The Packers, I don't really got faith in what they're doing right now.
NFC is probably wide open at the moment.
It is wide open. You know what, man, Mark? I'm not going to pick one. I'm not even going to pick one because I felt like everything was wide open last year except for the Saints and the Niners. And then we're hurt, and I just can't put my faith in the Saints, even though I think they're the best team outside of the Niners. So, but I'm not going to say that. I can't sit here and say that they're going.
The team that got the most stars on paper would be the Dallas Cowboys.
Do you think I'm going to sit here and tell you the Dallas Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Did you even hear me mention them? Like, you know what? That's not fair. Okay, they got the best players out there. You know what's going to happen.
I said on paper.
On paper. Something's going to happen. Them boys, you know what? Nah. We're not even going to talk about the Cowboys. No, I got NFC as a mixed bag. Anybody could come out. I got the Chiefs representing the AFC. Let me pick a dark horse team out of here right now because I got one dark horse team right now. And I don't even know if you would call it a dark horse, but if you're talking about Super Bowl, then it is the Titans.
Yeah, okay.
I like Mike Vrabel as a coach. I think what he did last season has been overlooked. A lot of people gave credit to Derrick Henry. A lot of people gave credit to Ryan Tannehill.
As they should have.
No, as they should have. But are you going to sit here and tell me that the coaching that he was doing as far as to change up the game plan of what of how they're running their offense and then also to defensively scheme against the teams that they were playing in the playoffs to get those dubs, like that wasn't a big deal?
All right. I think it's a little overblown, but okay.
Is it a little overblown? I don't know, man. Do you think that all of this success just happened because they got rid of Mariota?
I think no, I don't. I think it was intelligent on his part to put the ball in the hands of Derrick Henry, but I also feel as though that's slightly what should have been a no-brainer because he was the best player on the team. And not only was he the best player on the team, but he was by far the best player on the team. Like, this is something that the coach prior to him should have figured out.
Well, I'm not saying that it's just I'm not saying he's a genius. What I'm saying is he showed up and he did everything he's supposed to do to make the team play the way that they're supposed to. Did anybody know that Ryan Tannehill was going to be a top 2, top 3 play action passer in the league? Did anybody know that about him before he got there, before this past season? Mike Vrabel knew. I mean, I'm saying there's just certain things like that, that I feel like that's attention to detail.
Okay. All right. I think
I could be premature. This is only 1 year, but in 1 year he managed to take care of business.
Yeah, I feel you. I understand. I understand you see it that way, and I personally see it as Ryan Tannehill is on his way to a regression. But okay.
Oh no, I still believe he's on his way to a regression. But that's the thing. This is the thing about play action quarterbacks. If they're good at that, then they typically tend to give you the same production. They don't go up, they don't go down. They'll give you that same production as long as they have a running back there. It's the reason why. It's the reason why Andre Johnson had to suffer for so long, because that was their team, with David Carr. David Carr wasn't great, but you know what? He was a good enough play action quarterback to get Andre Johnson his stats every year.
Okay, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. It matters. It matters that, to me, Tennessee has always had a pretty good defense, but they haven't been able to put this string of wins together. And yes, it's a no-brainer to put the ball in Derrick Henry's hands, but I just feel like the passing aspect that came after that is what I'm giving him credit for.
Okay. I think I want to ask you about player standouts that you have going forward. I'm going to one of mine. I'm going to hold close to the chest, simply because I don't like. We have two drafts coming up, and I don't want anybody getting any bright ideas. So, so one of my player standouts, I'm going to just keep to myself. But anybody player wise that you care to speak on that you think is going to have a fairly good year, given barring any health issues.
I've told you this. I told you this going back to towards the end of last season that I am a believer in Drew Lock. Um, when I say he's going to have a good season, I don't think he's going to have a crazy season just because of the team that he plays with and their game planning for how they play. They're a defense and run first team. So I do feel like Drew Lock is going to have a great year. I think he'll keep his interceptions down and his touchdowns. I'm going to say Drew Lock, what I'm predicting for him is probably somewhere between 3,500 yards and 3,800 yards. I don't see him throwing for 4,000 yards, even though that's what everybody does these days. Like, he'll be somewhere around 3,500 yards, and I'm predicting probably something around 25, 26 touchdowns, maybe, maybe like 8 to 10 picks. So fairly good for somebody playing in their first season.
Right.
First full season. So that's what I'm expecting from Drew Lock, is him to do that, but also play good in tight spots. So that's the one guy that I've been keeping an eye on for a while. So he's got a lot of new weapons now. He's got Melvin Gordon there. He's got who do they have there? Who's the
Cortland
receiver they just got
Sutton.
there?
They got
Who's the receiver they just got? Was it Judy?
yes, Jerry Judy. Yes.
So they got Judy there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm saying is they have weapons there now around him. So I believe that he is going to have somewhat of a breakout season. Trying to think of anybody else. Everybody else that I've been paying attention to has already had their breakouts, man. I don't know. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head right now. Who you got, man?
Oh, like I said, I'm gonna keep the one close to my chest.
Yeah.
But off the top of my head, any breakouts that I feel as though is going to be probably honestly, I've told you that I'm very high on J.K. Dobbins. I feel as though he was the best running back in the draft. Now, do I feel as though this will be his breakout year? No, because Mark Ingram is still in front of him. But I do think he will have a pretty good rookie campaign um, as a split back because that dude he's too good to not have him involved in your game plan. And just watching him play, he was NFL ready. And this is a consistent thing when it comes to Ohio State running backs, man. Ohio State well prepares running backs, and they come out pretty much balling. So, and I don't know what it is because they did have a coaching change between between Zeke and J.K. and stuff like that. But um, they definitely keep their running backs um, going. They keep that running back factory going, and so I definitely looking forward to the play of J.K. Dobbins. Um, Anybody else's play? I'm curious about what's going to happen with Justin Jefferson. Simply
Yeah.
because he automatically is stepping into the number 2 role, so he definitely has a chance to shine, and particularly when it comes to my team, that's the guy that they looked right over so they could get someone that nobody cared about. So um, that's interesting to me. So I'll be watching Justin Jefferson closely to see what's going on this year. But outside of that, I don't know. And those that know, and anyone that is listening and that know me personally, I'm pretty sure you're gonna think it's funny to be like, "Oh, I know who his guy is. I'm a say it." Okay, but I'm calling your shot now. I like if you're gonna do it to troll and be funny, knock yourself out.
Mm. Yeah. So this is what I'll say. There's a few people I want to list the guys that I'm paying attention to because, like, for me, Hakeem Butler didn't really get a chance to do anything last year, injuring his hand. But man, am I terrified as a Niners fan to think that we already got to deal with Kyler Murray, and I'm already worried about Christian Kirk being a number two to DeAndre Hopkins, and then the thought of somebody like Hakeem Butler, who's like 6'5", 230, that can just catch everything and make highlight reel catches. I'm really concerned about that as a Niners fan. So I'm gonna be, but that's who I thought was that was the receiver that I liked the best coming out of last year's draft, but he didn't get a chance to play. So I'm gonna keep an eye on Hakeem Butler. Patrick Queen, I think, is one of these guys that he just perfectly fits into what the Ravens are already doing. So I'm also going to be keeping an eye on him to see what he looks like throughout the season.
Right. All right. I feel you. So let's get out of football for now and take it over to basketball. All right, man. So basketball last night, we had a game 7 against OKC in Houston, and we had the Miami Heat Milwaukee game 2. Let's just start with the first game that was played, Miami and Milwaukee game 2. I'm going to say something that maybe this is a hot take. I don't feel like it is, but maybe it is. That foul call on the last play wasn't nearly as horrendous as everyone says it is. It just wasn't. Like it.
Please explain. Please explain.
Okay. First, now I'm going to ask you this: was it a foul? Just like it in any like by the definition, was it a foul?
He touched him, so I guess you could call it a foul.
No, did he touch him and prevent him from being able to land?
Yes.
Okay. Is that not a foul?
In today's NBA, yes, that is a foul.
Okay. Did we not see earlier in the game in which Andre Iguodala went up for a shot and the player put his leg, Kyle Korver put his leg underneath Iguodala's leg and prevented him a safe spot to land?
Yes.
And that was a foul, correct?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So same situation. And was it necessary at all for Giannis to put his hands on Jimmy Butler?
Giannis shouldn't even have been there, but that's my point. So no, he didn't have to do none of that shit. But he
didn't have to. But even with him being over there, did he have to touch Butler?
No. Well, first off, this is the thing, man. Butler's good. He's not.
No.
I'm not touching him. I'm going there to close out and put a hand in his face.
But what I'm saying is, this is the defensive player of the year. And we know what the situation is. Last shot of the game. And we know, don't want to send them to the foul line. Do you, defensive player of the year, put your hands on this player at all?
Yeah, Giannis, why don't you answer this man's question, man? He's talking to you right now. He talking to you, man. Jeez, like I feel like I shouldn't even be sitting in front of you right now. You over here talking? Say, I said, do you, Mr. Defensive Player of the Year? I'm like, oh man, don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to Giannis, man. Like, look, man, we'll look him up. We'll find his Instagram or something, Twitter. Or, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you need to at him or something because you feel passionate about this, man.
No,
But yes,
not.
to answer your question, this is what I'll say. If you put it that way, if you're the Defensive Player of the Year, you have to know better. You have to know better.
Exactly. And we do know that is a foul. It is a foul. It's a foul that they called earlier. In fact, it was a foul that they called a play before that it wasn't even a foul. Like we saw it, the play right before that, it wasn't even a foul. He was already standing there. And they said, and they gave Chris Middleton the foul. Just the play before. And and he had already established his footing. It wasn't like he prevented Chris Middleton from doing anything. He was already standing there when Chris Middleton went up. So he didn't prevent Chris Middleton from doing shit, but they called the foul. So it's not like they were ticky-tacky or any situation. They kept the same energy throughout the game. They were calling that foul throughout the game. And you as a defensive player of the year, you have to know, you just being on the court, period, you have to know you don't foul this person. You don't touch this person at any point.
Would you rather him give him 6 feet of space like playoff P?
No, he could have. Listen,
he could. I'm just saying. Hey man, you can't fault this man for being a little overzealous.
No,
and putting a little extra effort in.
No, but that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why you got the foul call. You put your hand up. You ran over there. Put your hand up, and then while this person is still in midair, you put your hand on the side. Like now, whether or not your force of putting your hand on his side caused him to not land on his feet, that's a different question. But guess what? Jimmy Butler felt that hand on his hip, and guess what Jimmy Butler made sure not to do? He made sure not to land on his feet.
Man, so what you're saying is that the contact was very minimal.
I'm not saying the contact was very minimal. I'm saying that even if the contact was very minimal,
which it was, go ahead.
No, even if it was, Jimmy Butler made sure to sell the fact this dude touched me when he's not supposed to.
So now we giving people credit for flopping.
That's not a flop. Somebody touched me. He did get. It's not a flop. He sold.
Nobody touched him enough for him.
LeBron flops. Okay.
Hey, when LeBron got hit. Hey, when LeBron got hit in the face by his own player and he flopped to the ground to make it because he thought it was the opposite team, was that not a flop or was that just what do you call that? Was that not a flop? Contact was made, but he still fell to the ground unnecessarily.
He was selling something that wasn't there.
Come on. Anyways, but let me talk. Let me talk.
No, because like I said, man, it is what it is. We know. Look,
we know for a fact.
We know what Giannis. We know Giannis shouldn't have did that. We know that. Like, and right. I think most, and people are like, well, you don't do that, this, that. First of all, I'm not the type of person that believes, this superstar A. Shit, you don't call this call on superstar A because he's superstar A. I don't give a fuck if he's superstar A. Don't be doing no dumb shit out there and you don't get the call called on you. And that was fucking stupid. You the defensive player of the year and you out here fouling people on the last play of the game.
Dog, he's defensive player of the year because of how aggressive he plays on defense. Let that man chase out the block. An accident happened, man. He wasn't out there trying to do this. An accident happened. Yo, what the hell happened to my Did you see that? Hold up. What the hell's going on, man?
Your screen is gone. I don't know.
Yo, give me 1 second, man. I'm gonna try to fix this screen while I'm talking. But you can't be mad at that man for trying to put a little extra effort in to play hard, to chase down that guy, to chase down the play, chase down Jimmy Butler to make sure
No,
he's
I'm
putting
not.
the
I'm
extra
not
hand in his
mad.
face.
I'm not mad about him
I'm
putting a
saying,
hand
man,
in the
that's
face.
a
I'm
mistake.
mad at what he did afterwards.
What I'm saying is you can't live with the mistake that he made.
Huh?
You can't live with that mistake that he made.
But see, here's the thing. What I'm saying is you just said it was a mistake. So you're admitting there was fault in his action. So what I'm saying is people are upset as if there was no fault in his action.
No, I'm saying,
like there was fault in his action. That's why the foul was called.
Man, that's just like if somebody's just out there playing hard, like you got Pat Bev out there playing hard and he's all up underneath somebody like a KD, and then they end up calling a foul because he's playing too close to him. Like you can live with that, right?
What? Oh no! When they playing, see, you're talking about playing too close and actually putting your hands on somebody. Two different things.
Yeah, man. All right, man.
Two different things.
But that's when he gets caught. Pat Bev does it all the time, where he gets a little too aggressive and he's chest bumping them. He might not be hands, but he's chest bumping them while he's playing defense.
But is he chest bumping while they're in midair?
No, not while they're in midair. But look,
then.
All right, fine. I'm off it. Like, let me just say it from my point of view, man. So my problem is this. This is my problem with the whole situation. I absolutely can't stand inconsistency from the refs, right? I am one person that I despise when they're like, well, we're going to call it this way all season. But when the playoffs comes, we're going to call it totally different. And then once the end of that game comes, we're going to call that different. And then they just have different rules for different times of the game. Let me tell you something, man. There's a reason why I started to have a distaste for baseball at some point. The one thing that I don't like about baseball is all of the unwritten rules. I feel like a lot of the unwritten rules is stupid things that people hang on too tightly to, right? Mm-hmm. So you got all these stupid unwritten rules for the refs with fouls that can call, fouls that can't call. Oh, it's called differently because of the playoffs. Like, I hate all that shit. So, like, to me, it's all about consistency. And the reason why I'm saying this, Mark, is because any other playoff game that they've reffed that I've ever seen, if that much contact was made, that little bit of contact was made, they wouldn't have called it. Yes, it would be called a foul at any other time of the game. I get that. But it's like everybody has already accepted the fact that this is a foul that doesn't get called. So if you're Giannis, right, and you know that this usually doesn't get called at this time of the game, and you decide to try to take advantage of that and play a little aggressively, and then they blow the whistle on you, what are you supposed this is my problem. The refs need to, and I agree with you when it comes to this. The refs just need to call that shit one way all the time, every day. But see, my problem ain't even the fact that they called it the way that they would have called it in a regular, in the other parts of the game. My problem is I know what's going to happen. Next game, they're going to have a scenario where they're just swallowing the whistle towards the end of the game. It is going to be the complete opposite of what they did this game.
Well, it's
not going to be because, oh no, we wanted to make sure we did the right thing because we fucked it up the first time. That's not going to be the reason why.
It might be a different refereeing crew as well.
It might be. What I'm saying is I'm willing to bet the same refs that called that this way are not going to call that way the next time they're reffing.
That may be.
I'm just saying that's my problem with when they do this shit. You know what I'm saying?
But that's
going to go right back. It's going to go back to normal. It's going to go back to normal with them swallowing the whistle.
But that's why you can't control what the refs call, but you certainly can control what you do. Like you can't.
And one thing I'll say, as much arguing as I did back and forth with you, I agree. Giannis should not have been there. He shouldn't have been. When I say he shouldn't have been there, Mark, I'm not meaning he shouldn't have been anywhere near the play. He was the help defense. The help defense ain't supposed to come over there and commit the foul.
Right.
Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's my problem with it. It's like, No, man. You're Giannis. You're 7 foot tall. All you got to do is run out there and show your hand and jump up. Try to get the block from afar. You don't like this is crazy that I got to say, hey man, watch the footage of James Harden playing defense and maybe you'll learn something. You know what I'm saying? Why do I got to tell that to a defensive player of the year?
Hey man, I don't know, but you just gave me the perfect transition because James Harden seems to have learned a new trick. And you know what that new trick is? Playing a little bit of defense. This dude, where did he learn to play defense, man?
I'm not even gonna let you rock like that. He played a lot of defense, a whole lot of defense. It wasn't just a little bit.
Like
that boy was out there looking like. I mean, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I'm saying this, but he looked like a young LeBron out there. The way that he was getting up on defenders, he was ripping people, he was taking cookies. Yo, that block was so clean. Like, come on, man. I don't know, man. I don't know who that guy was, but I hope he shows up the next game. Like, I don't know. He better show up when he's playing the Lakers. I'll tell you that.
Well,
they're gonna need it.
I will say this. That his defense was on point, and maybe one reason why he doesn't play defense is because it affects his offensive game. Because his offensive game, this wasn't a good shooting night for him. He was 4 for 15, and for some reason he wouldn't go away from the three. He was 1 of 9. Like he was, and like as we could see from the final score. That's dangerously close to costing them the game, jacking up these empty threes. So,
but okay. Well, this is what I'll say, man. I'm not going to let you. I'm not even going to let you discredit him on that because I'll be honest with you. The way that I saw it that he was struggling. He was struggling to do things on offense, and he decided that, hey, you know what? I could do something on defense. Like I'm not going to go out just shooting bad like I did last time and then not do anything about it. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to try to get some stops. And I mean, Eric Gordon was out there playing defense. I don't know who was inspiring who to play defense, but they both was out there trying to, playing aggressive defense on the perimeter.
Right.
Man, I don't know, man. Like what I saw from the Rockets, like I already know that as a team, they've been playing a little bit more defense lately. But they wasn't playing like this. They was not playing like this. Like, and I'm telling you right now, like
this was certainly a team that didn't want to go home.
They didn't want to go home. They look hungry. And when I tell you that it was like by any means necessary, that's the way they was playing, man. And if this Rocket team, I'm gonna need to see this without the desperation, without the pressure. If they come out the gate and just on a regular Tuesday do this, they will become a dangerous team because yes, they're going with a small ball lineup, but if you got smaller guys that are going to get up underneath you like this, that is going to cause a problem for these bigger teams and force them to go to the post, like which none of these teams want to. Yeah. Maybe they're playing the wrong team right now because LA does want to. LA has the abilities and they would love to. But what I'm saying is if you get these guys that are willing to jump out there like that and get up underneath you and play tough on the perimeter and play you close like that, then it would be a problem for a lot of teams. So, but shout out to James Harden, man. That once again, that block. I mean, for him to block that shit, know that he was going to try to throw it off of him out of bounds and then jump up and. I mean, that shit was crazy, man. That boy was in the Matrix, man. That motherfucker was, time slowed down for him or something. That man was in bullet time, yo. Shout out to Max Payne.
Yeah. Like, seriously, man. This, like, I'll go with your flip of the situation. I'll go with your flip of the situation about James Harden. And he was out there to play. And Westbrook was out there not to be the reason why they lost. Like
Westbrook actually had a pretty good game all the way up until the fourth quarter, but I think everybody played like shit in the fourth quarter.
When you've been playing hard this whole time, of course your game's going to fall off. So, but I mean, he was fairly efficient up until the fourth quarter, and then but he still finished the night 45% shooting. He was
Yeah.
9 of 20,
I'm
and
like I
he
said,
kept.
I'm
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna hold it against him because I watched if you paid attention to the last 5 minutes of that game, nobody scored on either team. It seemed like. So I mean, he wasn't the only one struggling at the end. So I'm not even gonna hold it against him for having that fourth quarter because James Harden wasn't scoring. Even Eric Gordon, who was scoring okay, he wasn't scoring. Like nobody was scoring.
Yeah,
You know.
and he was not 9 for 20. Like we just talked about the game before, he had 7 turnovers, and he took that all the way down to 2. Eric Gordon and James Harden had more than him. Eric Gordon had 5. James Harden had no, excuse me. James Harden had 5, and Robert Covington also. No, I had it right the first time. Eric Gordon had 5 turnovers. James Harden had 4 turnovers. I was looking at their fouls. That's what kind of threw me off a little bit. But Robert Covington stepped up in this game, and he was red hot from 3. It seemed like 6 of 11. I mean, so this was a good game. This was exactly what we originally expected it to be. We expected this series to be what this game was, and we didn't get the first 2 games, and so.
Well, there's two things that I gotta point out because I would be remiss if I didn't point this out. I feel like we have to say this, dog. 2 things. Chris Paul, you were bad down that stretch, brother. You know what I'm saying? You came down, you got ripped, you came down another time, you gave up the rock. That's how James Harden got that block on that play because you gave up the rock at the last minute. You know what I'm saying? Then on the last play of the game, Billy Donovan, man, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Are you really drawing up? Are you really drawing up a play for Steven Adams to get the inbound at the top of the key? Are you fucking kidding me, man? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious, man? Billy Donovan, like, you're supposed to be better than that. Like, this is my problem with Billy Donovan. Every time I want to give him props for being a good coach, he does some dumb shit like this. You know what I mean? Like, Billy Donovan is one of these guys who made the jump from college to the NBA, and he's trying to coach these fucking NBA games like it's college. Like, I don't understand it. Like, why? Like, Mark, can you please tell me if there's any logic? And, you know, we've been talking about trying to get Steven Adams involved in the games and do all these things, try to get him, you know, to take advantage of the height event, you know, the height advantage and the height disparity between him and PJ Tucker. We talked about all these things.
Right.
Can you please explain to me why? Is there any possible reason that you can think of that they were drawing up a play specifically to get Steven Adams the ball at the elbow? Please, you got anything?
No, I don't. Sorry.
By God, Mark. I was like, that shit ended exactly the way it should have. Them fucking taking his cookies and then him falling to the ground like the fucking 7-footer that he is. Dog. The shit was ridiculous, Mark. So, and where the fuck are you, Chris Paul, man? Like, man, where is your LeBron David Blatt moment? You're supposed to go over there to Billy Donovan and tell him, nah, dog, rip up that play, dog. We ain't running that. That's what you're supposed to do. Chris Paul, I'm disappointed in you. Billy Donovan, go coach somewhere else. I don't know, man.
Well, look,
I'm done here, though.
It's funny that you bring that up because it seems like this was both these. There was 2 games in which the star of the team or the leader of the team didn't say, "Yo, I don't give a fuck. Give me the ball," because in the Nuggets Utah game, Donovan Mitchell wasn't the person to take the shot. Like, and those are the situations where if the coach isn't drawing it up for you, you as the player, like if you the star of the team and you're the guy, you're supposed to be like, yo, fuck all that. Put your hand over the board. Like, give me the fucking ball.
Yes. Yes. Doug, Mike Conley, as far as just a shooter, a jump shooter, 3-point shooter, whatever you want to call it, the only person in that lineup that might be worse than him is Rudy Gobert. I don't know why. Like, that's my problem is who they gave these balls to. You know, and I like Mike Conley, and he's clutch, and that's great. Donovan Mitchell's supposed to have that ball. Chris Paul, they could have drawn up a play. Billy Donovan, he could have drawn up a play for anybody else on it. Yo, the rookie, what's his name? He was going off, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was going off. Okay, if you drop a play for him, cool. You know what I'm saying? You could have gave it to anybody else on that damn Gallinari. You could have given it to anybody. Steven Adams, that's what you're dropping with 1 second left on the clock. You're drawing up a play for Steven Adams at the elbow to get the ball at the top of the key around that elbow area. You're crazy, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Are you talking about Lugan Dort? Is that who you're talking about?
Yes. He dropped 30. He had a hot hand. He slowed down in the fourth quarter, but he had a hot hand all night.
6'12" from three. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a hot hand in the fourth quarter. He slowed down a little bit. You know, even Shea Gilchrist, you know, he started having a game too. Like, man, anybody, just like Steven Adams at the top of the key is not what we asking for here, man.
But that's the difference between those that really want it and those that don't. So,
yes, once again, Chris Paul has reverted back to being the Chris Paul of old.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I certainly do hear you. But off your Billy Donovan topic, let's get into these coaches, man, and what's going on in this league. So, first, I want to just start out by shouting out Steve Nash. Steve Nash is named the coach of the Brooklyn Nets, and it's interesting because I saw something. I saw a post that said that the NBA is down from 12 black NBA head coaches in 2012 to just 5 today. And it's interesting because in this league that's dominated by black players, and where we also see a lot of black players, a lot of black former players also heading into coaching, and we see them actually studying to be coaches, and yet Brooklyn Nets go and hire a white former NBA player that has zero coaching experience. So,
yeah,
that's wild. That's a little wild to me, man. How is it that Steve Nash has a job over a Sam Cassell? Now, Sam Cassell is still playing. He is still they're still in the playoffs, so I guess you can't attempt to hire them while they're still active in the playoffs, I don't think. But Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, maybe Jason Kidd as well. They're all still in the bubble and playing, so maybe that's the issue. But the Sixers have drawn interest in Tyronn Lue while still in the bubble, and they're just holding off. So I'm just curious as to what made them jump out the window for Steve Nash so early.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is what I'll say, man. Just real quick correction. I just looked at 14. There was 14 of them in 2012.
Okay, thank you.
14, which makes it even worse. But this is
so just under half.
Yes, I have a few theories, man. Hear me out. So, coaches in 2012 that were black coaches, the black head coaches that I seen at that time happened to be, I don't know if they ever evolved. Excuse me, for y'all that can't see, I'm doing air quotes right now. Evolved, with the game. The ones that didn't evolve. It seemed like most of the people that didn't evolve with the game were either older white coaches or they were black coaches. These black coaches that were around at that time, I'm thinking of guys like, Mike Woodson with the Knicks and things of that nature. A lot of these guys had an old school approach to the game. We always mention Mark Jackson. These guys had old school approaches to the game. When once analytics got into things, and Daryl Morey, once the analytics got into things, and then once Steve Kerr had success with the Warriors, that was it. It just opened the floodgates, and then everybody started going away from the old school style of coaching. And like I said before, I just believe that off the top of my head, when I think about it, nobody was trying to. None of the black coaches were buying into the new way of playing, and because everybody else around them had bought in, they got phased out. Man. Think about who you see, who's still around, who's a black coach. When you think of it, one of the first names that I think of is Ty Lue. Ty Lue is one of these coaches that is 100% bought into the new style of play, and that's why he's still around. So I think this is more so back then, the older coaches that were there from 2012 that no longer exist. I believe that's a byproduct of the changing of the game and the way that teams want their the way that owners and GMs want their teams coached. There's a certain style of play that they're looking for that puts butts in the seats, basically. And that's what it comes down to for those guys. Now, but what that does not do is it does not explain why these new guys that are down with the new style of play, why they aren't getting these opportunities, okay? Because I still think Jason Kidd is one of these guys that's somewhere in between. Like, he still kind of has an old school way of thinking, but he still is a little bit progressive enough to where he hasn't been phased out yet. And plus, he's Jason Kidd. People respect him. But to your point, Steve Nash. Let's get down to it. You were mentioning Sam Cassell. Steve Nash, you can wait to sign Steve Nash. Nobody's knocking on Steve. I haven't heard Steve Nash's
nobody knew that this dude was out looking for a coaching job.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is they could have waited for the playoffs to end. They could have said, you know what, we're going to give these other guys a fair shake, or we're going to look at this. No. Somebody pulled Steve Nash's name out of the hat. Maybe they liked him as a player, and they were just like, you know what? It'd be cool if Steve Nash was our head coach. I don't even know. Now I'm curious. Did they pick Steve Nash to be the coach, or was Steve Nash actually looking to be a coach? Because you know how this goes. They'll call a dude sitting on the couch. We had this conversation before. They'll call a dude sitting on the couch that don't even know he want to be a head coach until somebody offers him a job.
Right.
So that's what I feel like this situation is. So you telling me that they couldn't wait till the playoffs was over to kick the tires on Sam Cassell or Jason Kidd? I mean, if we're talking about guys that, at least Sam Cassell has been on a coaching staff as an assistant, so
is Jason Kidd as an assistant and as a head coach.
He's like, Jason Kidd has been in the league. That's what I'm saying. So obviously
and both of them have rings as well. They have the hard
like Jason. They weren't gonna go back to Jason Kidd because that's where he had his falling out at, and I understand there's been a change in the people in the front office up there as well, but it's still one of those things where I don't think they were going to go back to Jason Kidd, but damn, they just skip right over Sam Cassell. There's a few people that are out there, man. And that's who I was mistaken with the name. Alvin Gentry was the previous coach of the Toronto Raptors. But either way, there's just other guys that are out here that want to be head coaches that have been on coaching staffs for years. And Steve Nash, I don't know. But to dig into it, Steve Nash is not the guy. Do you honestly think that Steve Nash is going to garner the respect as a coach from KD and Kyrie Irving?
I don't think he's going to need to. I think honestly,
he's going to need to.
I mean, I don't think he's going to need to, in in the sense that he's not going to step on their toes or anything like that. Or I don't think he's going to be very forceful in any sort of way. And I also think
No,
that
I know he's not.
this team is going to survive off of their talent in a lot of ways.
What I'm saying is, if Steve Nash is on the sideline as a rookie head coach, as somebody who's never been an assistant anywhere, that draws up a play on the sideline with 15 seconds left in the game and hands and shows the clipboard to Kyrie Irving, is Kyrie Irving going to say yes sir and run that play? No. He's not. KD's not running that play. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why it's important to have somebody that the players respect. And if they're not going to respect you as a player, they need to respect you as a coach. You know what I mean? Jason Kidd is a person who garners that respect on both sides. You know, just because of his approach to everything. You know, you're talking about a Steve Nash guy who seemingly is the nicest guy in the world. No, I mean, who knows? Maybe this turns into a Steve Kerr situation. I don't know.
Well, the coach does, but the coach I was talking about for Toronto was Dwayne Casey, not.
What I say? Did I say Alvin Gentry again? Yeah, my bad. Dwayne Casey is who it was. My bad. I'm over here messing up, man.
Yeah.
Dwayne Casey. Dwayne Casey was the one he got that coach of the year.
Yeah, and was fired. And,
yeah.
But yeah, man, I like that is an interesting point that you brought up about the new guard coming in and everything like that. But it still doesn't excuse like what's going on today.
No,
because I feel as though everybody says, well, Steve Kerr could coach this, that, and third. No, Steve Kerr was handed a team that was ready.
They gave him the keys to the Ferrari, baby.
Yeah, you know? Like basically, they handed Steve Kerr the keys to the Ferrari, and the Lamborghini that was his competition removed a wheel. Like, like that was the very next year, Harden was no longer an OKC. Like, yeah. So like, of course, like, yes, you're going to have an easier time to get over that hump when the three-headed monster that blocked you the year before is now a two-headed monster. Like, that's going to be like that's going to be
a huge deal.
That's a huge deal. That's a huge. If
Harden was there, man. That's man.
So like that's a huge deal, and even then it took 7 games for you to get over that hump.
Yeah.
And it took 7 games and a breakdown by Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook for you to get over that.
I was gonna say shout out to Billy Donovan for doing something right, but we'll continue.
Yeah. So,
but sorry, go ahead. I gotta give him some type of credit somewhere, man.
But yeah, man, like so all this was excuse me, I lost track there. But back to Steve Kerr. Yeah, Steve Kerr, you may be a good coach, but that doesn't change what Mark Jackson did, or the fact that maybe Mark Jackson could have also gotten over that hump and did exactly what you did, had he not had the 3-headed monster in his way and he only had the 2-headed monster in his way like you did. And the same thing happens over in Toronto. You fired Dwayne Casey and he just won head coach of the year, only to hire Nick Nurse, a white guy, and he gets a far better player than what's his name? DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan, yeah.
Yes, he instead of DeMar DeRozan, he has Kawhi Leonard, and now Nick Nurse is some sort of savant as a coach. Like, no, he has Kawhi Leonard. Now, mind you, Nick Nurse is still a good coach, but I'm saying you can't knock what Dwayne Casey did and say Nick Nurse did something that Dwayne Casey couldn't, because Dwayne Casey didn't have Kawhi Leonard. Like, and not only that, but he won head coach of the year, and you fired him when he won head coach of the year. That's nuts to me. Like, no wonder this.
Yeah.
no wonder the system shows only 5 head coaches that are black because you don't get as many opportunities. I find it very interesting as well that these teams find all these myriad of reasons to fall out of love with these black head coaches. The Wayne Casey's case, they just drop him from out of nowhere. Jason Kidd's case, oh, he there's a personality problem. We don't get along. Mark Jackson, there's a personality problem. We don't get along. Like, why is it that ownership has a problem somehow cannot coalesce with black coaches?
You know what, man? I'm not even gonna. You know what? I'm not even gonna get into that. You know, we want to talk about people that were.
Oh, that was just the open-ended question. I wasn't looking for an answer.
Oh no! I know you wasn't, but I'm saying, like, think about this, Mark. Here's one for you. For somebody that everybody seems to say was a decent coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Decent coach, but he's also a guy that didn't rub anybody the wrong way, and they also said that so he decent guy, doesn't rub anybody the wrong way, and he was kind of a forward-thinking guy. And he's a black guy, and he's no longer coaching in this league anymore. LeBron's first head coach.
That hurts. He went to the Lakers, right?
Yep. So I'm trying to figure out his name. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Right. All right, we're going to pause while we find this name. And we're back. Continue.
Yes, Mike Brown. What happened to Mike Brown? He just disappeared into oblivion. Like, he just disappeared. He's a guy, like, once he got that Lakers job, and once things went the way they did, that was it. That was it. It's like when you're somebody like a Mike Brown, where seemingly you handle your business the right way and you don't do anything the wrong way. You get along with ownership. You get along with the GMs. People like you. They just like you. You know what I mean? Somehow you end up getting the shit end of the stick. So
yeah.
Here it's saying he's an assistant. He's an assistant head coach with the Warriors. Been there behind Steve Kerr since 2016. I forgot that he went there, but yeah, that's where he's at now. But nobody's calling him.
Oh
shit.
no, but here's
Luke Walton.
But to your point. Oh, you was about to get into it. You were about to get into it.
Luke Walton got an entire job off of that. You know what I'm saying? Luke Walton.
No, because that's perfect. Like, that's absolutely perfect, because that's the perfect example. Luke Walton, who did an interim coach job for Golden State, as
the Golden State Warriors,
who was already established as the Golden State Warriors team. The very next year, he gets the Lakers job. Mike Brown does the exact same shit. The very next year, he's the interim coach for the Golden State Warriors, while Steve Kerr is out with chronic back pain, and Mike Brown gets absolutely nothing. What the only difference I see between the two is the color of their skin, because it's the exact same situation. So it's weird. That's just weird to me.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, Mike Brown is I've never heard anybody in the league, commentators, media, nobody's ever said anything bad about Mike Brown.
Nah.
Nobody. I don't get it. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not just we don't get along. Well, now there's somebody you do get along with, or you can get along with. And if you're telling me that Mike Brown is just happy being the assistant coach there with the Warriors, I don't think so, man. I'm not saying he's not happy, but I'm telling you, if you offered that man a head coaching job, he'll take it. I know that, so
right.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Well,
that's my
I'm reading something that says Mike Brown this is from June 22nd of this year. It says will reportedly interview for the Knicks head coaching
Why is it got to be the Knicks head coach? Nah, man, we gonna get into this. Why it got to be the Knicks head coaching job, man? When these people look, man, we was talking about Dwayne Casey. Dwayne Casey got banished. I'm saying banished. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. You know what his best option was? The Detroit Pistons. Okay, when he left Toronto, he inherited the Detroit Pistons before. If I'm not mistaken, that was before they got Blake Griffin. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Detroit Pistons. Okay. Now we're talking about Mike Brown getting offered the Knicks job. The Knicks? Don't nobody want the damn Knicks job. Shit, that's how Steve Kerr ended up with the Golden State Warriors in the first place. He didn't want that damn Knicks job. Don't nobody want that job. This is what they got to do. You got to go to New Orleans. You got to go to Detroit. You got to go to the Knicks. You got to go, like, if you're a black head coach, your road is different, man. You know what I'm saying? Dwayne Casey, what was Toronto doing before Dwayne Casey was there?
Don't know.
Like, this is what you got to do. You got to go to the trash team and try to make that shit happen.
And as soon as you make them into something, they're going to fire you and replace you with some random dude.
It's crazy that some of these guys just walk into the perfect situation.
Yeah,
they just walk into Steve Nash. Get me to coach that Nets team. I bet you they make the playoffs. Shit, I won't even show up to the games. Come on, man.
Y'all just go out there, do whatever you want.
Kyrie, you know basketball better than I do. You know what, you guys, whatever you feel is right, you go ahead. KD, yeah, you too. You just tell the other players to just follow along, right? You know what I mean? Like, come on, dog. Come on. They can, off talent alone, they'll make it to the playoffs. And then some asshole out there is going to be like Steve Nash, you know, first year as a head coach. The Nets went from not being in the playoffs to being in the play, or they're gonna fucking hype that shit up, you know.
Yep,
they're gonna put all kind of sauce on it, you know.
Yep, they're gonna spin it for sure. Oh man.
Like, oh man, I hope they don't, man. Mark, man, I promise you, I don't want to be like this. I really hope they don't do this. Like, I'm not trying to be that guy. I don't like saying these things, but I'm tell you what, man. If it happens, I'm gonna be right there.
To be honest, what is Dwayne Casey doing now? Because I truly don't know. Like,
no, that's what I said. He's with the Pistons. He's with the Pistons.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said. He got there before, if I'm not mistaken, because they traded for Blake Griffin during the beginning of the season or whatever the situation was. Like, I think he got hired as a head coach there before Blake Griffin got there. So, which you're talking about Drummond being their best player at that time.
Right. And then you have so like, why can't they enter, like, because the Sixers job is open and they are talking about Tyronn Lue. And honestly,
Tyronn Lue's the it guy. He's going to get he's going to be the it guy.
But see, Tyronn Lue is the – hold on. I don't know this for sure. So I'm going to speak from a place of I'm just going to speak of what I feel. It seems to me that Tyronn Lue is a bit of a yes man. And I think that ownership is probably looking for someone that they can control in the Sixers camp. And I think because go ahead.
I'm not even going to say control. I think they want somebody that's going to play nice with them, but it's going to control the players.
Well, there you go. That's perfect.
Yes, that's what they're looking for. You know what I mean? Because he's not going to argue back with them, but then the players, he'll be able to, you know, that they had that whole conversation about whether Joel Embiid could control Jimmy Butler.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We know Brett Brown wasn't doing none of that shit. So you get somebody like Ty Lue in that, I mean, shit, he got LeBron to listen to him. Shit. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like,
did he?
Well, Mark, it depends on who you ask because it's different. I don't think he got LeBron to listen to him. LeBron picked him to be the head coach and told him that I'm going to listen to you. There's a difference. Tell me, is that not how it happened? I feel like that's how it happened, man. But yeah.
All right.
you're going to be the head coach. I'll make sure it happens. I'll run Blatt out of here. And when you become a head coach, don't worry about it. I'll make you look good.
Yeah. I'll make it look like you're doing everything.
You seen how the fake arguments on the sideline, though? And then he comes back. Okay, yeah. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Hey, come on, man. Yeah, so. Yeah,
all right, man. Listen, I'm good with stopping here. This was an excellent episode, bro.
Nah, we got it. I got excited about it.
Yeah, man, this was an excellent episode. Honestly, I enjoyed the talk, man. It was nice to not have to get into any of the heavy stuff. So
yeah, people out there, man, act right, man. We don't want to do this shit. You think y'all? I'm not even sure if all of y'all want to listen to it. You think we want to talk about it? You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna give you our takes on things. We're gonna try to make things entertaining, and we're gonna have these, everyday man conversations about sports. But one thing that we won't do is ignore topics that we feel like they need to be talked about, because we have a platform right now. I know maybe it doesn't seem like a bunch of people are listening right now, but if we ever do get to have a bigger voice, guess what? We're going to continue to do these things and speak on the things that we feel should be highlighted with the little voice that we have now and the bigger voice that we'll have in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So you couldn't have said it better. Thank you. With that said, I'm going to get into my little spiel here. All right. Shout out to first-time listeners. Shout out to last-time listeners. Shout out to anyone that's in between. Listen, thank you for joining us on this ride. We are available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Overcast. Still shout out to that one Overcast listener. We are available on Google Podcast as well. Pretty much, if it's a podcast station, you could probably find us there. Just look for the iTest Network, and when you see the dope black, green, and red logo, that's us.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out. Mind if I give a shout out?
Yeah.
I want to shout out to Jory. I'm not going to say his last name. That's not a dig at you. I just don't know how he feels about that. But shout out to Jory from the 750 group, for saying that Giannis has only one play, and he posted a picture of a dive play from Madden. You know what I'm saying?
I thought that was hilarious.
So Mark, you can't be mad at that man diving at him to try to get the block shot at the end of the game. He only got one play, Mark. He only got one move.
Listen.
Shout out to Jory.
Listen. Yeah. Oh, man, that's a whole nother topic, man, because
I'm glad people are seeing it now, Mark. I'm glad people are seeing it.
Because that made me think about, honestly, like Jimmy Butler's, like, his scoring wasn't there in his last game, but his defense was. Like, yo, that dude is a monster, man. Like,
this is why I love him.
He's a monster defensively, and like, it really made me think, like, yo, maybe the defensive player of the year went to the wrong person, dog. Because Giannis is big. You're a big dude, okay? Woo. No, but Jimmy, what Jimmy was doing, some of that stuff was artful. Like, yo, with the play in which he let Giannis like check into him. And then when Giannis went to check into him again, he moved to the side, and Giannis fell right over.
That's what they do,
I was like, yo, that's just masterful stuff, dog.
Bruh, Mark, I mean, and I hate to say it this way, but judging from this year's playoffs and last year's playoffs, I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Giannis, his basketball, I'm starting to question his basketball IQ. That's not good. That's not a good look, Mark. I'm starting to question his basketball IQ. Is that a fair take?
Hey, yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
It feels like it, man. It feels like it. But yeah, we'll see. But there's more to see.
Yeah, it's definitely more to see, and he still had. Well, I mean, he seems willing to grow. He's definitely
he's very willing.
He's getting to be a vet, like, not getting to be. He is a veteran in this league at this point, but he still seems willing to learn, which is excellent because some players are not.
He just needs the right person teaching him now. That's all.
Yeah. So, but yeah, back into that spill, man. Listen, like, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, comment on the page. We have a comment to get to on the page where this gentleman said, I believe you know him. He said that.
Yeah, that's my cousin, man. First off, let's keep it a buck, man. Full disclosure, that man is a season ticket holder for the LA Clippers. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind when you respond to him, okay? And just so you know, he does not like Russell Westbrook. He's one of those guys, okay?
Listen, I was really debating on whether or not I wanted to respond to that comment, because you can't say this man don't have a skill. Like, athletic. I responded initially by just saying athleticism is a skill. Like,
I did.
Like it is a skill. Like, that's just true. But
shout out to my cousin Robert, aka Kahil. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you out there in LA. Thanks for listening, or at least commenting. We not gonna let you rock with that comment, bro.
Not at all. We coming at you. It just I didn't want to say some of the words that I was going to say, because I was going to bring Iverson into it, but then I was like, he's going to say something stupid about Iverson, and then it's going to blow my mind. So I was just like, you know what? I'll wait. I was like, I'll let Sean address him first, and I'll see if I want to chime in. But
we gonna get to it.
Yeah, for sure. But look, man, it was fun. Please continue listening to us. We're only going to get better with time. With that said, I appreciate you, Sean, for joining me once again. It's a pleasure as always. And I guess the next time we'll be doing this is Sunday. Anybody that's listening from 750, we will be doing a live broadcast of the draft. So you can check us out on Twitch, possibly YouTube as well for the live stream, and the recording will be up on YouTube afterwards. So yeah, man, we'll be doing that. And anybody that's listening from the Lions versus Men Fantasy Football League will be doing a video for that one as well. So yeah. So I guess the next time you and I'll be meeting up is Sunday, bro. For a video at least.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah. Yeah, this time you'll actually show up to the draft, huh?
Well, hopefully I'm not still sleeping. That's what I'll say.
If you're sleeping,
if I'm still sleeping at that time, there's something wrong with me.
Exactly. I might want to call the doctor. But all right, y'all, man. Peace.
Later.